action. Wonder what happened to that guy. Remember? Live action. He go and rescue all them animals and stuff. That guy was awesome. I really appreciated that guy. Anyway, hey, thanks, Tori. I really appreciate your podcast again today, as usual. It's just awesome. I love spending time with you and Millie and all you beloved people whom I'm, learning um, to trust and just growing to love each and every day. Thanks a lot. It's and definitely, I know I keep saying this, but trust is earned. They they've got they've got it. They want to feed us, shovel us a little bright. The teacher's so bright. Got us believing something different. Respect is earned, and they just twist it. So hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I was checking a few things out. Um, and never been there, but whatever it takes to. And of course, she needs to. Absolutely, we want her there. Come on. If I could, I'd be bringing my little Lily, and then y'all would be feeling a lot more comfortable. But you guys you already know. It's all the stuff. But I understand. I do. It's all good though. We've built a lot of structures that a lot of the faithless are finding a lot of peace resting under. That's what faith does. When you start moving in faith, when you start to um, live out what it is that you're trying to achieve, and seeing when you step out contrary to what your fears or ambitions or what someone else might be trying to tell you, and you'll see that manifest itself. You put yourself in a situation, and it doesn't mean being unsafe. That's not what that means at all. But after a while, it's like there ain't really nothing can happen. Not ultimately nothing can happen that would be negative for you. Anybody that believes in a creator as Yahweh, our beloved other half, and he's just slowly adorning us for his wholeness, his holiness. It's amazing. Oh gosh, it's so amazing. It really is. And again, you might hear me, God, I'm not wearing anything out. It's so intimate. People just pervert the whole intercourse, the lovemaking, the groom and bride, and wow. And it's all just right there in the words of truth right there. Of course we got to discern through the Holy Spirit what it is that it's saying, because there's people they're iffy. They like to fee. But yeah, thanks a lot. I honestly get something out of every podcast I watch of Tori says, and trying to stay busy at the same time, and pay attention to my granddaughter and all that. It's becoming easier. Actually, I'm starting to actually be able to deal with more things at once, and not really even phase me, as far as like my stress level has really gotten really, really low. And I'm drinking coffee. I've been drinking coffee the last week or so. But I do my tea's my favorite. But yeah, thanks a lot, guys. It was awesome today. It always is. Always is. And oh yeah, let's see. I wanted to bring some stuff before I forget. Of course, my grandson and everybody's here, so I might have to pause, and then I might have a phone call, one that I'm gonna have to take. But then I'll just pause, y'all. Let's see. There was something I wanted to. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention, like yesterday, um, that I had done 4.5 hours. 3 hours was all my computer was capable of recording, and then an hour and a half, and then I stopped because the power went back on. The cable, we got cable anyway, not power. The power was on, but so like I said, I was pretty much thorough when I did the one that we downloaded to YouTube, which took forever. Um, but I was a little more thorough than brushing over to just bring us up to speed. So I'm gonna kind of go back, like I said, to Florida before we start to head to Maine again, back to Portland. Mm. And I had forgot, even I'm sure I forgot, even in the last segment that I had done, about one of the reasons I believe that fella that said to me, "Hey, the reason why you're able to walk through here is because of me, right? I keep these people from getting you, right?" And I was like, "Yes, I know that. Thank you very much." And I did. And I believe this is one of the reasons why. And it may seem insignificant to you guys, but I was led to share it. And this is just one of so many examples, people, that I can give. And honestly, that I have forgotten more stuff than I have even told you about. I really, or have just left stuff out. Just the stuff that I've just forgotten because I haven't tried to get to down one trail, try to stay on. There's so much that I've forgotten or just left out, way more than I'm fixing to well, yeah, of course, more than I'm fixing to tell you, because this is just going to perpetuate. This is an eternal love story. But um yeah, I've literally forgotten more than just what I've told you already. Just stuff that has just slipped my mind. So, and this is one example. So I want to share this with you. So I'm in the shelter. I just gotten back from sorting crushed car, metal. I was telling you about that dangerous job down in the tide flats, which it still blew me away, even to this day. Looking back, well, it doesn't to these this now in this day and age, because I've been through so much. I know exactly what was going on, but because I had to get clearance to go in there and work that dirty. It was, and not only was it dirty, it was dangerous. So I had just come back. I was all filthed out, and I knew what was some of the stuff that was in them crushed cars. Yeah, only imagine. And that just gives that Christ-like song a real raunchy resume there. But I'm taking a shower. I'm getting all that nasty stuff off me, and because right, you stand in line, you pay your $3 or $6 or $7 or whatever it was. And like I said, I would buy me usually a little 5 sack of weed every few days. That's how they were able to get me, because I'd walk through the hoods. I wouldn't care. I didn't care. I'd go through. I whatever was the quick. That's the way I went. I didn't. And I always have. I always have done that. Um, and you usually have done just fine. Not to brag. It just people, just even whether they could have whatever or not, maybe they admired the fact that I just walked through there just humbly and very respectfully and just got to where I was going. And I'm almost certain it was also, I had a heavenly hand. Well, I'm absolutely certain of that, even more today than yesterday, way more so. So I'm in line. I'm getting in. You stand in line. It takes a while to get inside, and this old black man, this white haired black man, real nice fellow, but snappy, older guy, little bit heavier, not much. That's all. I'm saying this for a reason. He was usually always there to take the money in the afternoon, and but he wasn't there in the morning when they'd give you, because they would give you a lunch. They would give you a lunch, and then all the labor places around would be sitting there with vans. They kind of goaltended there, which was a actually a good idea. If I owned them labor services too, I'd be doing the same thing. So put them, put them Home Depot workers right to work. But so I'm in the shower and stuff. I get out of the shower and there's a buzz. Now the because you have to stand in line, you have to get there and not mess around, because if you're not there by a certain time, and there's quite a few beds, so there's usually people got there before it filled up. You'd have to come pretty late for it to fill up, and then you would just go inside. But if it was a nice day in the evening, he would be sitting outside, the old black gentleman, and taking everybody's money. And then after an hour or so, he would go inside behind the desk. They would shut the door, and then if there was room, you could go in and pay. If not, he would turn you away. So I was getting out of the shower, and I noticed there was a there was a crowd gathering all around the desk there. And he wouldn't allow that. He would say, you guys go to the, because there was a TV room, and there was a little area where they had a vending machine and stuff like that. And then it was just a bunch of rooms with bunks, just basically one just big hall, right by the YMCA. My son and I, we got a membership not very far, just right next to the Metropolitan. And then down a little further was a Salvation Army, just on the same side of the road and everything, and just a little up from the Greyhound station, believe it or not. So there was a crowd gathering, and I'm still wet and stuff. And you take everything that you got valuable with you. You don't want to leave anything. And I kind of something told me to go kind of hurry up to the front of that hall, and I did. And the old man was sitting in his chair, like just like this. He had his head down, and he had his eyes closed, and somebody said, "Get him on the floor." Well, he had obviously had been there for a minute or so, because the crowd had gathered around. And then there's some people that didn't even, they were just going about their business. But I could almost barely see. But they got him on the from the chair to the ground, and by then the nurse comes, and I don't know. I think it's a treatment center. So I think there's because there's a bunch more, a building that's on the other side. We're just stay this little shelter, this homeless little shelter that you had to pay for, which I'd never seen anything like that before. But it's still a blessing. It wasn't that expensive. It was worth getting you off the street there in Tampa. That was dangerous. You couldn't, even if you were a hard nosed person, you get clobbered in your sleep. They would think you got something in your pocket. It was crazy. You'd have to have somebody literally standing guard over you. At least that was my experience. It was crazy, just completely nuts, ass backwards morals. At all, it was crazy. But so they get him on the ground. Now the nurse, and I'm finally working my way through people. And this nurse, this other black nurse, this lady, that I had seen around before, somebody that might have a little injury or something, she'll come over from, like I said, I believe there was a treatment center or something over there, but we never went over there. I didn't know what it. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there. I think there was a treatment center. That's right. Some guy was dating a girl, I think, that was over there. He had been in there. He was trying to talk to her. Something. Yeah, there was something going on over there. So there was a nurse on, is my point, and she's doing well. She's attempting to do a real poor job of CPR, excuse me. She's pushing on the man's on his stomach, on his upper, his stomach. She's pushing right on his, not on his like its diaphragm, or she's pushing right on his tummy. And I was watching her. I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe I was just seeing stuff. No, I've been getting plenty of sleep. And she's pushing on his stomach. And I says, oh no, I just automatically, and I just got right down. I moved her right out of the way. I just moved her right out of the way. And I started pushing really, I started just hammering his chest. I almost stood on his chest. And sure enough, man, about a good minute of that, his eyes just started to flutter, and you could hear him just like that. And right about then, the ambulance is carting the cart in there, and I'm still pumping away on his chest, and the lady's she's watching me. The aid car. Um, she's standing over, and then there's two or three males, I think, but she's standing over a taller woman, and she was almost like, well, she just was letting me do what I was doing. And then finally she said, okay, now go ahead and so I got out of the way. But he found out he made it to the hospital, but he still died. And I believe that guy that in the other projects, not the one that I had the gun pointed in my head, that was the one right closer to Ybor City, the one down closer to the right by the Greyhound station. But then there's one right up. There was three of them real close. And like I said, these were like concrete jungles. These were, and I wondered, I asked the guy, I said, hey, why is there a fence? Why is there just a regular wrought iron type fence with sharp tips so you can't get over very easy? You ain't climbing this. And then there's no gates and stuff. And he goes, oh, that's so that when the cops are chasing people in here, they don't they don't they don't allow them to get too far in, because once they're in there, you never know where, you know we can run up in anywhere in those rooms, and it's over. They're gone. Which is another thing I'd forgot to tell you guys about that I just remembered. I was in there one night when I was with the guy I told you about, that I helped out from Colorado, the young kid that ended up, his parents sent for him, the one that left his truck at Tawana's work, late was ended up being her work, right there at the hood. I was with him around that kind of that little time frame, and I ran in there to get some crack one night because like I said, I'd go in, and this is when we had a motel. We were making money, going to labor ready, labor works, but then doing cleaning up until he decided to rob one of our customers. And she was graceful enough to not even say anything, but I already knew. She told me already with her language, and if I ever, and I will, I'll see her. But if I see her before uh, uh, that banquet feast comes around, or the Great White Throne decides to manifest, then I'm gonna apologize to her, because I was hoping, and I'm sure she knew I wouldn't have done. Although, years before, I was the kind of guy that would have been climbing through the back window, but then I would have never, once I met her, would have never ever stole from her. I didn't have, I wasn't cut like that. I was just screwed up in other ways, in very, very dysfunctional ways. But priority wise, yeah, all messed up, but my heart was in the right spot. It was just very, very, let's say it was off kilter. It was a little uh, on the shifty side, but it's all lined up now. Everything's good. So, uh, But my point is, I'm in there getting crack, and this young, they call them jitterbugs down there. And this young black kid's telling the other black kid, shoot him. He's talking about me. More than once, this has happened, but this one time he's like, and for no good reason. I had just got some stuff, and I had to go deeper in than I really wanted to, but I finally found somebody that I kind of knew, but then walking out of there was a couple little younger kids. It's crazy culture, just dysfunction culture, psychosis. It's crazy because these kids, they don't just come out of the womb, like that. That gives a whole new meaning to killer and you, killer and me type thing, right? But yeah, shoot him. And I'm thinking, are you talking to me? And he didn't want to. The kid didn't want. It was dark. It was dark. I was just passing by the basketball court, which later on, coincidentally enough, before I went to Maine, I ended up having my family move into this one black girl that I used to get crack from. She let me and Tawana and the kids and all that stuff stay upstairs in her house, and she was no one to mess with, and even though there was a bunch of people in there also was no one to mess with, she had enough pull in there. My son was able to go play basketball there, and she said that you leave that white boy alone. He's with us. He's with me. And then she'd go back into the and because Tawana had just we'd gotten the motel, and we were trying to save them enough money to get a rental car, and we ended up staying there. There's another, I forgot to add that. A lot of stuff that just so much stuff that might be significant to some people, and obviously enough for me to recite it, to remember, and then just go back and let you know. So, and then I think I already told you this, brushed over this a little bit. My son and I I'd gotten these motels on and off, and you could tell people they'd off theirself in there, or something happened to them, or they got murdered or something. But these people, they weren't. And I know this is why I don't like being in motels at all. I'm like Billy Graham in this area. I'm they you could just tell, you could feel it. And not only could you feel it, you could see it on when I'd get the because I'd lay down different stuff before I'd lay on and you could see the stains and stuff, and I could just crazy. So but what, you grabbing that? Right on. I'm live, live, live. Here, let me. All right. My son had to grab something. This is our kind of go-to room. He's got his 3D in here, his 3D printer, his gaming deal, which he's let me use, and so I can see when Tori has her deal. I know I keep sliding down in this chair, man. I really apologize, people. I'm donating plasma again. Ugh, never, ever, 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 ever. Oh, like Smokey, don't you ever, 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 ever come over here looking for me ever at all. If you want to come find me, you make sure you go to Debo's pigeon coop. But you don't ever, 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 ever come here looking for me. That is funny. Oh, that's funny. Talk about false advertisement on the phone. Oh, Jesus. That is something else. And you know something? Didn't even plan this, baby. Isn't this beautiful? That girl, I believe, was the little girl that they had to go. real thin. I believe that was not Die Hard. I was getting it mixed up with Die Hard, wasn't it? Die Hard or it was Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon. That's right. And that black girl, that beautiful mixed girl, I believe was also in. That's right. That's right. Didn't and look, I, you can't even make that up. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. And if I am, somebody will probably correct me, and I'll be like, "Right on. It's all good. It's all good." Um, Annie, Dreamboat Annie, ship of dreams. Oh, Annie, Dreamboat Annie. And I believe she might even have been watching saying, "Oh no, someone said, "Hey man, you need to check this out." She's like, "But how did he know that?" Hey, I only give it the way I get it. And like I said, I've just learned to do just that. And if I reach too far, too fast, well, but no, I have fought long and hard for that. So there's not too fast. Let's not even go there. But it's all right. It's all good. All is well that starts well. What's that, Lassie? See, we can slap it up. We can love and slap it up just like old Annie, Dreamboat. Takes that which isn't, all for what? For his glory, honor, and praise. Because that's ultimately what's going to be happening. And it's for us, for our ultimate glory, honor, and praise, so that we can extol. Oh, and I had looked that up too. Oh, and it just fit beautifully. It fit just so beautifully. Wow, can you imagine? And that's why he allows us to have. That's why it was not good for man to be alone. Amen. It's woman, human, man. That's what that is. That's what that means. Gives us the whole, because you could have figured something else out, but we have life, and that is going to continue. Seeing it was good. Seeing it was good to multiply even before the sin came in. And and that's something else I wanted to talk about too. Thank you, Lord. I don't believe Genesis is in chronological order, and I don't believe neither is Revelations. I don't know about any of the other stuff. I'm just led to talk about this one, and I'm not talking about alchemy led. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about royal thrones of such. I am referring to Genesis as John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. See? Is, was, and will be. Hmm. Yeah, my son says, "Yes, Dad, we can upgrade this if you want. We can." I'm like, "I think I like this already." He goes, "Well, you don't even go back and listen to any of your videos. How do you know what you sound like, you silly rabbit?" I used to eat just big Tupperware bowls of cereal. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. What was that? That was some smoking Joe Frazier right there. Mm. Oh yeah, it's getting real crafty with this stuff. This this digital technology is. But I'm learning, and boy, I'll tell you, the hand of our Creator is just. it's more he's more playful than I would have ever imagined. I not goofy like this, although he does have his gestures, but I mean, in it just man, people have got. I used to always say, God, if I would have just known this before. And he goes, well, if you would have known this before, you wouldn't be having this conversation with people and had been down that road enough to where you can empathize, sympathize, and be empathic and understand what is going on here. And there's so much more to be experienced. That's the neat thing. Well, they're trying to destroy it as it's going to be just you know to destroy those that destroy the earth. There's that thrice. He always confirms himself. So the black man. So he's seen that. I think that's partly why he allowed me to get through there too. Because, like I said, pardon me, he would come and when him and his wife weren't doing well. So, and where he lived too, it was it was nuts. It was crazy. You would see, uh, for the lack of better term, Aryans, white people come and get drugs at this one little store, but they wouldn't get out. They wouldn't get out at all. I walked. The motel we got before I ended up starting school at the Grand Hyatt was just a block or so away with that Indian family, and they used to and they'd never let we didn't even know they had kids, but after a while they liked us so much they used to let their kids come out and play because there was no one else in that whole deal, and it was all boxed in, so they could see their kids. They knew there was no one in those rooms. And when people would leave stuff, he'd come over and say, hey, do you want this and stuff. But yeah, we had some weird experiences back to that blood and all that stuff, man. So I don't know. That stuff creeps me out. Me and my son were playing a board game. We were playing Monopoly. Well, Cecilia was playing too. They were young. Like I said, this was right before the chow got shanghaied. Uh, that poor dog, beautiful, beautiful dog. God, it pissed me off. I was so angry at the owners. I'm so glad that thing wasn't there when I came back because I would have been probably drug that thing from door to door and found out who owned it and then just tried to either something would have happened. Win, lose, or draw, boy. Something would have happened around that time. But anyway, our pieces moved. And I'm not talking like we witnessed them moving. I'm talking about like just one of many, many examples. I could write a whole book on this. My it didn't it didn't pass go. It was on the other side of the board. Me and him, we didn't even see it. It wasn't, and then it was. Kind of like what he said there on Winter's Bone, which got Millie all. Yeah, that's my life. So well, I'll watch this. Oh my God, he's gonna cut me up with a chainsaw. He said he cut his teeth on an 032 still. Oh Jesus, I knew it. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then the no more tears on the bus on his way down. Oh God. Oh sweetheart, no. All this time though, you see now. All this time, isn't that nice? Now you're seeing what's what. This is real love right here because I really love you. I truly am in love with you, and I love all of you. And the only way I can fall out of love with you is if I fall in love with someone else. It's just that simple. It's that easy. It's that simple. Be a simple man, baby. And go find a woman and you'll find love. And don't forget, son, there is someone up above. And you know, oceans upon the sky, huh? Oh, Annie, dreamboat Annie, ship of dreams. Oh, Annie, dreamboat Annie. Crazy. And then it would go right into crazy on you. I bent down over a clear running stream, whisper a song that I sang up above, and you kept me alive with your sweet going lies. Of course, she's got that octave up there. Yeah. Yeah, I pray. I pray, 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 pray. Stark contrast. Well, that's from this or that. I don't need to. It's not, gosh, just when you love something so much and you see it killing itself. It hurts. Oh, right on. Let's see. Hello. But yeah, you just see something you love so much and it hurts. You see it hurting itself. It's like my dogs. That's why it just blows me away how people can fight these beloved creatures. I don't get it. It tore me up when my dogs started going at it. I was like, holy smokes. I was like, man, I don't know how people can be entertained over this stuff. The stuff was flying. And I was like, oh man, me and my son, we had to do everything we could. And that's why I had to put the one down, because I could not trust him around my daughter. And I mean, he wouldn't bite her at all. But once they went at it, him and his brother started going at it, it was a bloodbath. That's why I had him wear those collars. Those collars wasn't because I wanted to portray, hey, I got these mean dogs. Those collars were like that with the spikes so they wouldn't kill each other. I had to put them on them so they wouldn't kill each other in front of me. And so, yeah, like I said, I had 3 out of the same litter. I had Bubba. I got Bubba first, but I didn't know this. I thought I thought they all were getting parvoed twice. And so I went down to the store and started, I didn't know they couldn't catch parvo twice. And then I found out about the salmon poisoning. But the good Lord, not to get too far ahead of myself, the good Lord didn't want me to know, because he knew, gee, these aren't, some people might, when I get to that part of the story, well, they're just dogs. Well, they weren't to me. They weren't just dogs to me. These were my family, and they helped me in ways, I don't get it. I don't know how somebody could kill something like that. And if you ain't gonna eat it, man, don't kill something. It's just like throwing something out the window. I never could vandalize. When I was breaking into schools, they were trying to vandalize stuff. I was trying to steal stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but why would you vandalize? It doesn't make sense. I know my morals were completely ass backwards, but I mean, I was like, you guys are out of your minds. Why would you vandalize any of this stuff? We could sell this stuff. This stuff, you guys are nuts. Knock down, drag out fights just over those presents. Doing burglaries. Crazy, asinine, backwards morals. But there it is. But I know those kids were they end up going to Disneyland. I just knew that that's what that money was for. They were going to Disneyland in that one house. That was the biggest brawl I'd ever got into in someone else's house while burglarizing it. Was that big 5-gallon water container and it was loaded. This was loaded, man. We'd have been spun out for a week on that one. And there was no way he was getting that. because I knew those kids, they were going, even though I know what I know now about Disneyland, they were still, if I would even have known back then, I probably would have still, yeah, he'd have still got clobbered. I got clobbered too, but yeah, we ended up, we, that was quite the knockdown, drag out fight there. But that never happened again. We did come to an understanding. Talk about the school of hard knocks. So let's see. Oh yeah, so that's what got me that brother, that black dude. He just one day when I was going, because I would, like I said, every couple days I would go, even when I started school at the Grand Hyatt, I would stop off and get me a little five. They had those little 5 sacks of weed. It was Mexican dirt weed, and if you bought it from the same guy that happened to be, want the same customers coming back, he would clean it out enough to where you actually had stuff. And I say all that because I would walk in there, and I'm absolutely certain that that's why I didn't have any issues, is because of that incident with the black dude, that I almost had the privilege to save his life. Um, but then I found out later from the nurse that was giving him CPR on his stomach that he already had a open heart. He had a bypass. It's like my buddy up here that we got out of prison. His toes started going black, and they did a bypass on him. But because of this COVID thing now, supposedly they can't do a bypass on his other leg. So just say a prayer for him. He's a good guy, innocent guy that had a domestic thing, and he was thrown in jail, and he couldn't, but he was the professor from went over to Japan. That guy, ex old professor, teaching the teaching over there in Japan. Nice guy, nicest guy you'd ever meet. Sabbath keeper, I found out. Not that that's a major thing. Like I said, that's a personal thing. It's not even a right or wrong. If you really honestly, your heart's in the right spot, I don't even want to say this, but I know that the Lord would, once you come to that realization, that's between you and him. But yeah, that's, God knows your heart. But that was it. I believe that's why I got my life spared many times. But that one time when I went in there to get coke, man, whew, that youngster, and I couldn't. And what really blew me away is how young that kid was. They're like, shoot him, shoot him. And the one kid, he didn't shoot me because he didn't want to shoot me. Otherwise, I'd have had a 40. And it was a big gun. This it was at least a 40 caliber. I know it. That would not have been good. That would not have been good at all. No. Let's just say the last thing they seen from me was the soles of my shoes, because my little feet, I pitter pattern like you would not believe. And then to the McDonald's at 20, ended up getting a job at. Only white girl there with the black name. I used to go and I would go walk her home sometimes, and we just lived just not very far. Like I said, we lived on this side of the projects, and the McDonald's was almost part of the projects. But after a while, they all got to know her, and she was fine. She just was. They left her alone walking to and from. But yeah, some weird crap happened in that motel. In that yeah, I seen some weird stuff down there. That Tampa, man, I don't know what it was about that. It definitely wasn't what I was thinking and had always been fed, at least my perception of what Florida was like. And like I said, maybe I've been to a Sarasota was nice. I snorkeled Sarasota. Same place my beloved Schwartz family, the Carol, the mother, retired from the meat department there, and it's Joe Albertson's meat department, but that's the old jingle. She actually bought all her kids a house, her children, I should say, a home. What a nice thing to do. And I said that before, but what a nice thing to do for your children. That's, so many people are so stressed out about where they're going to live and where they're going to go, and it's getting so hard to and so much harder as the days grind out to find a place to move your family to, or even yourself. I think Tori was kind of brushing over that a little bit. Like I said, I was trying to do five different things: grab the baby, feed the baby, don't grab the baby, we need to let her cry. Well, then we're saying that now that Cecilia's home, but before, no, I don't want to throw her under the bus. I couldn't pry the baby off you. Give me that baby. Uh, so yeah, crazy, crazy stuff down there. And like I said, maybe I just had a real bad experience, but it was other than Busch Gardens, that was kind of neat. My job training there at the Grand Hyatt, that was really a neat experience. I had a really good time there. Um, and I learned a lot, and all the like I said, I just got along with everybody, even the just all of them. They were all from different parts of the 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 world. Really, it was just it was a big melting pot. That place ran like a well-oiled machine. It was so big. Like I said, that kitchen was so big. The dish room was in the middle of this kitchen. It had to be, because there was so much stuff going on, and I got to see I got to glance at the desserts and stuff and watch them make stuff, but that wasn't part of the training. I think that was baking. That was a whole nother thing, which is a science that in itself, because the atmosphere, just like I was talking about the watches, I had to learn about the for the elevation, for the pressure, and that almost a caveman can figure out some. And I won't browbeat anybody, but it's, oh boy. Same when you go down, it gets cold when you go down. Nobody taught me this, but I used to pretend I was man from Atlantis. I used to swim like the fish, and I'd go real deep, and then I'd snorkel. So I could hold my breath sometimes for a long time in that sound, and people are like, "How in the hell can you do that?" The Point Defiance, I think it's Anthony's home port. I actually worked at Anthony's home port in the Des Moines Marina for a brief period before I actually got a job at the Albertsons and the meat department there at the bakery at Albertsons in Des Moines. But yeah, down at the point, and it was cold. It was really cold. But see, the adrenaline, just how beautiful it was. What you see up top is nothing like which comes into view once you're real down up close and personal. But yeah, so anyway, so we're heading back up to Portland, Maine. Stop off in DC, score me a bag of weed, and the projects. This is kind of, and I'm not bragging, but it might sound like it. This was always my go-to question for the answer to go to and where to go was, and always has been, hey, where's the worst spot in town? People would look at me and go, what? I go, well, where is the worst spot? Where would you not? I'm serious. I would always do this. Where I was at, I would always find out where the drugs were at. And I always did within no time, within an hour. Every city, every town, wherever I went, always. I said, where's the worst? So I would start there, and then I would, finish thinking I had just accomplished something as I'm, digging these ditches deeper that I'm now trying to, the blind leading the blind. Oh, and I got some scripture verses I want to share too that I'm led to share that I found about snake when you've asked for bread. and you get snake. I brushed over this a little bit, I believe, but um so I score some weed in DC. I find out where the worst. I said, where? And they go, oh, you want the projects? I said, yep, that's what I want. I said, the projects, I know the projects well. And so, a matter of fact, it was probably somebody from the projects. So they were like, oh, so this is where you go. You're real close, which was just right off the freeway. They go, you just want to go right over there. And so I was asked, are you a cop? I says, well, and I didn't want to hand this one on him early. I said, no, absolutely, I'm not a cop. But usually, depending on where I'm at, I'm going, listen, if I was a cop, I wouldn't tell you I'm a cop, because that bullshit about them telling you them having to tell you you're a cop, who they going to believe? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did tell him. I did read him his rights. Now, who are you going to believe? Right? So, and usually they always do, you know. And in my case, they suggest that I just keep my damn mouth shut. And usually that doesn't happen, and so I get, you know, the old midnight ride in, you know, lunchtime down really rough roads. So and up padded elevators, and, you know, all kinds of down different, you get the idea. So, but I get real crafty and saying some things that they know. How does this guy know this? And so that's usually got me beat extra. You know, that got me an extra few good licks, because they're like, wait a minute, this might be true. And when you're talking about, you know, well, I'm not going to say anything. They're just like, oh my gosh. And I guarantee that man, once he got done taking me to jail, he went straight home. Let's just put it that way. Quickly, unannounced. How about that? But that got my ass kicked real well. So I follow this. Are you a cop? No. Well, come on. So I walk down in here and I'm looking around. I'm like, huh, this kind of reminds me of Chicago. Kind of. They're kind of taller, concrete. Or so maybe I just thought they were, but that's what I remember. Of course, no grass anywhere. Dirty as all can be. I would have been, if I lived there, I'd have been out there. I wouldn't have been able to help it. I would have had to start picking trash up. If I'm heading to the trash can and I see garbage there, and sometimes I have to, I have to stop myself to get to where I'm going. But I'm like, are you serious? If I see someone throwing trash out the window, I get smoking hot. I mean, especially when a big bag of McDonald's or something. Oh God, you fool! Oh, hair hat idiot. McDonald's. What an idiot. You guys have no clue. Oh, and it's good. My favorite, which is a Big Mac and a quarter pounder. Not anymore. Although I can sit and salivate thinking about it. Oh, Jesus. They got us all hooked on that shit. So I walked down into a spot that you guys should never walk down into. And pulls out a little handful. He goes, go ahead and pick one. There's all this purple weed. And I was like, oh man, purple? And he's like, yep, purple kush. He goes, you're not from around here. I says, no, and I don't plan on staying here long. Purple little bag of weed. First time that I'd ever been in DC. What I can remember was just a shithole. It really was. Kind of parts of Tampa. Sorry, Mr. L. I really enjoyed Ybor City. I really, 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 really did. I loved St. Pete. I really enjoyed St. Pete. Used to find a lot of neat books, a lot of neat antique stuff. The thrift store, St. Pete, Clearwater, enjoyed it. Sarasota, didn't even know. Knew, well, of course, knew that because they would come back. The girls would come back. They're all tanned up. We're like, where have you been? Well, we're in Sarasota, our parents' place. Well, now they all have houses there. And now here I ended up snorkeling there, not even putting two and two together. Of course, she didn't want to ever go back because, you know, they would just pull their tops off and lay down to suntan, and they weren't, you know, I'm just like, look, I'm just here to snorkel. That's all. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to prevent. So that was for you, baby. That was for my little silly. And don't, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying. So, um, we get to Maine. We're back in Maine. Get in. We're back. Go to back to the shelter. They had room, so we didn't have to go back to the Howard Johnson, which was adjoined to Friendlies, where we both got jobs right away. And then she ended up going back to Friendlies when we got back there, and actually, because they told her when we left, or when not when we left, when she left back to Washington, if you ever want, there's a job waiting for you when you come back. Because like I said, she's real good at the food service stuff. You wouldn't know there was anything. You wouldn't know there was anything wrong if you ever worked for her. She's able to. That's why I said sometimes you might. And I use this two ways in threefold. Sometimes you'll get three answers depending on who you're asking at what time, and so words have three meanings. But that can also mean a good thing. That could also, just like the yeast being sin, and also like faith, as it permeates the whole batch of dough. That's why I say you don't just clean the outside of the bowl, you clean the inside. It's because I do like chocolate chip cookies. I really do. And I would not, even if I did see somebody do that, they would have to wash that bowl really clean for me to sit and really feel comfortable with sinking my teeth into one of them. But yeah, you wouldn't know unless unless you knew. You wouldn't know. You'd be like, "What are you talking about?" So, well, never mind. Yeah, it's not unless you spend enough time, and of course, I guess that probably explains why. I put up with it. What I do. It's like, can't you find something to do? But that's kind of mean, and I'm just trying to do it for your benefit, baby, because it ain't like that. It ain't like that. I very much love her, but that's because I love myself enough to love her so that I can see and say the good and also recognize and withhold the bad, because people change and they have free will, and who am I, right? I mean, I can go back just 5 minutes to that crap. Johnny Walker Blue, God, that must be smooth. Yeah, that's real smooth. You deserve a shot of that. Well, yeah, shit. And then I wonder if I can find my Coke dealer's number after I go to the casino. And then it's just this twisted ass pattern. December 22nd, 2015. And even before then, it was just a trickle down effect. I was so getting tired of that. Yeah, those seeds, they fell on rocky soil, and but some of them found their way on good fertile soil. That's the moral here is we've got, and I've learned what good fertile soil is. Like I said, I used to buy black gold. I would only grow in black gold. Now I know I can make my own. I don't even, little sand and some moss, and maybe some biodegraded mushrooms and banana peels, and maybe a little diatomaceous earth, crush up some shells, and man, you just want it to drain real well. Drain and then food. That's all you got to do. Anyway, before I get off on this whole damn sermon, which it's starting to turn into, and I don't like to hammer away at certain things. It's because I didn't take too well to that when I was a kid. Matter of fact, what it did is it screwed me up, because I seen exactly what religion hypocrisy was, and It turned me away from the real thing. That's why it's real important not to be lukewarm. Got more honor for people that are just downright cold. I love the hot ones. Gotta have them. Gotta have them. You know it's in a tea bag, but you also gotta love them cold ones, because them cold ones, it's them lukewarm ones. You gotta watch out. You gotta watch out feeding them wolves. So let's see. So that was part of why um I was able to score stuff, is because I always went to the worst, and it's sad, but that's what I did. So on our way to Maine, she gets a job back at Friendly's. We're in the shelter for not very long, probably, God, I think maybe just a week or two. That's the time I end up meeting that girl that they showed on Alex Jones's podcast, that says she was I think she was making a sign. Yeah, I don't think she was doing chalk, the sidewalk chalk, like I might have said before. She was making a sign, I think. But either way, she turned around, she said, "Well, we kill our kids, or I kill my kids." She said something like that. You get the gist of it. She is a Satanist. She's a incarnate demon with human skin stretched over it. And I met that little hell's troubled wind up soldier for Satan um in at Preble Street shelter. I seen her because, like I said, Pastor Abraham would go, and they had different churches. Awesome. That I just can't say enough about that. Back then anyway, that city was just the neatest little city. People were awesome. Even the assholes were nice, excuse my language. Really, I'm serious. They was just I really honestly had I enjoyed myself in Maine. It's just got just too cold and too snowy for me, and I don't know. But um yeah, we got a place right away, because now I got off track, and I'll snap back here in a minute. But we got a place just right up the road from the shelter. Oh, that's right, the Satanist, that little demonic, little hell's troubled, half wit ninny. She actually, I think she was responsible for a seagull, and I'm serious. This, oh God. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause this. I got a phone call, and it might be important. So hang on, people, please. Okay. Um. So yeah, that little demonic little wench. I think she was responsible for. Um. I'm almost certain she was, her and her little clan. Because they just roll around. They that's what they do. They they're they're slimy little slugs. They're slimy, slimy, slimy little slugs. That's, you know what'll keep slugs, and also salt, but diatomaceous earth is good to put inside your those crushed up shells. Um, but they broke the neck of this seagull, big, beautiful seagull, uh, just right down the road from my house, right in because I lived real close to the market. That's what it was called. The market is where I worked at, right up the street from. I had many jobs in that market, but those people down at Preble Street Shelter would go to the market because it was just up the road, and I lived just down the road from that. And one morning, this seagull, I was just completely just it blew me away, and the poor thing couldn't hold its head up, and they'd coax it with food, and then if I'd ever see him do anything like that, I'd have hit spin cycle on him. But that little wench, she I met her. Like I said, I wasn't I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I said I met her in Portland, Maine, I did. And I think at that time she was probably in something tells me Rhode Island, and or no, maybe she was from Rhode Island. That's what it was. Because I hate to admit this, but I'm gonna. I think I smoked a joint with her and a bunch of her little troubled clan. The few of us were mixed in there because, like I said, I'd ride my bike all around, and I hanged with I'd mingle with all different people. I fit right in. I didn't. There was no really age gap for me, and so yeah. Anyway, we had an apartment. Got an apartment right up the street from the shelter, right on the next street over. Right, I could pretty much look out my window. This is where I caught the Somalians. They stole my bike, my Denali, twice. They got beat up twice. They sent another guy and stole it, and I had to beat him up. And of course, they just send the whole damn clan for after you, but that just wasn't going to help them out much either. Um, but we lived right in front of the house we rented before she went back to that her mom and their little they're gonna fix her life idea by setting her up with some guy that uh yeah he got on the phone, talked to me, but I very politely had to verbally correct him and put him in his place. uh it was a sad sad thing, but yeah. So Mike, yeah, Big Mike, big, they called him Big Mike. True story, they called him Big Mike. That's right, Big Mike. Big Mike. So let's see. So we lived right there in between the shelter basically and Abraham. So Pastor Abraham, they would feed down there. They would take their turns down there at Preble Street Shelter, which top notch food. I couldn't believe how generous people are to the homeless in Portland. I honestly, it was probably because there wasn't a whole lot of them. That was the thing, and that's why the welfare office was. Everybody must have had jobs, which is a good thing. A human doesn't want to work; he doesn't want to eat. Even if you can't punch a time clock, well, at least whistle a tune and tap your toes if you're harmless, right? Whatever whatever you can do to contribute. I believe that's what that actually means. And just like a joyful noise, Lord doesn't care if you can carry an octave, you can actually sing. Who cares? It's all the intent. And like I said, he takes those words, he reconfigures all that, and it goes into his ears completely different. So yeah, we ended up getting moving into a pretty neat little apartment. That's the same apartment I ended up getting that revelation from when I was watching Oprah about writing LOL before I found out that that was the name. Because I giggled and said, well, what am I going to name it? Three Little Pieces? Because the book was a million little pieces. And I heard this voice I'm becoming very accustomed to and rely on daily, um, say, she's going to want you on her program, but you're not going to go. I don't want you to go. But if you do, you're going to be protected. You see, and that's what happened. That big man that came up to you, yeah, that's right. That's it. It might have seemed creepy and strange to you, and I seen that. It seemed normal. I don't sit and watch that crap up on that chat because all most of it is it's just you see what it is now. That's why I told you when I first met you a long time ago. Quit reading this stuff. Quit reading that because they've got you so wrapped up in and the people sitting right next to you were doing it to you and having you read that and they were all gloating, clowning you up, dressing you up, sending you in. But now the joke's on. Now who's laughing now? who's who's laughing now? I mean, really, a gut laugh. You know, a real guttural, eternal laugh. Oh, look at that, right there, just right there. So yeah, a lot of neat things happened when we went back. Um, it's when I got the job offer as like I said, the from Joe, which God, I'm so sorry, Joe. I so apologize. I had to go turn myself in, hand myself over. They weren't going to let that $20 rock go. It might have been 50, I don't know, but I was just trying to help the dude out, man, and he was a black dude. He's prejudiced. I knew it. I told you about that candy being in a black wrapper. You guys didn't believe me, man. It's where I grew up. 1211 East Alder. If it wasn't for Bonnie, you know, that was it. She was my first and only real love, true love, other than Millie when I seen her. That was, and I've been trying to, I tried to get out from under that one, boy. I'm telling you, many, many, many times. So she's gonna have to do it, like I said, and then if not by that time frame, then like I said, then I'm gonna have to fall in love with someone else because that's the only way I can see my way out of this. I said, look, Lord said, trust me, trust me, trust me. I said, okay, I've been trusting you for a long time and I do trust you. I said, but listen, how long am I going to, he says, you don't worry about, I said, how am I going to fall out of something I'm so far into? He says that in order for you to fall out, you'll fall in. And that's the only way that could happen. But you don't need to even think about that yet. You don't need to even, that's a bridge that you don't even. You notice how sometimes people blow up bridges they can't burn? They'll just blow them up. So, um, yeah, I should have known you Fruit Loops were chiming in. But yeah, I'm not even going. I'm not even going there. I always thought right away that looked like you. Right away, when I seen that picture, I thought it looked just like Millie. The whole time until today, I was like, wait a minute. You see, I see all kinds of little things, but yet there's certain things I'm led to miss. Or maybe that I'm just trying to listen so hard for something that is already been said, and then I'm missing some things I'm supposed to see. You see what happens when you reach too far too fast, or you you don't jump too quickly when an opportunity arises, or if it, at least that's the way I'm seeing it. It's like it just depends. It just depends on and then the Lord works with it. He's able to work with it because he knows we're human, and he knows that, just like he said to Yeshua, it says right in the word, it's not a sin to be tempted. It's even Yeshua, even Jesus was tempted. Look, that's something that he was constantly is tempted. That's why he was able to atone. He was able to atone um, because he never sinned. And that's why we need a savior. And we have a very loving, patient, but very just and true creator So we do not want to forsake not only the assembling of the saints, but the assembling of ourselves with our Creator through prayer and just submission of our flesh. Because where two or more gather, oh, it's so exciting when you start to realize, wait, man, you mean that's really what that means? Yes, that's really what that means. And once I got that, it took me, I believe, a Muslim to point it out, to actually not point it out, but to bring it to fruition in my life, so that I would be in a position on my face as I'm like, who stole? Where are my sandals? Now, who came in here at night? I wake up real easy, and oh, that's right. And I got down, and I was told the night before, you make sure they're way under there so that you can get on your knees, because your lazy ass will just make it so all you got to do is bend over and drop them and get in that chow line. Because if you're not in that chow line at a certain time, you just don't get fed. That's just the way it is. I mean, you might get a cool cop once in a while, and there's a lot of cool ones, guards that'll come around and say, "Hey, man, Steen, are you getting up? You gonna eat? This is it, man. It's leaving." Otherwise, the porters, the unit workers, they'll split. They'll eat that. They'll eat it. They'll eat your food. So, I mean, God, when you're being charged $1.10 for a ramen soup, and they're feeding you hog slop and everything. It's got turkey. Everything's got turkey in it now. You don't get nothing. I mean, it's nasty shit. And I mean, everything has. It's either some nasty pound cake that comes already pre-made, or maybe in big. I don't know. It's something. It's either pre-made and already sheeted up because of the way how much they give you, how big they give you, opposed to this. It's just slop. It's ridiculous. It's inhumane. It really is. It's in here. I wouldn't say that because I'm thankful for everything. Look, I'm not picky when it comes to food, and it might seem like I am, because it has to chew the cud, and the fish has to have or scales, and not only chew the cud but have a cloven hoof. Oh, I love you, baby. But um, I can go into how important being a vegetarian for a certain period of time in my life was also, and considering the meat these days. So, you got to make that decision for yourself. But now that I got completely off course, and I did, and forgot about the topic at hand, if there is such a thing, while listening this journey, and speaking of journey, have to fall in love again. You see, that might be what this is all about too, is that to fall out of love, I'm gonna have to fall in love. But maybe I'm really not falling out of love. I'm just gonna fall in love with you every day, like that movie when that man's beautiful beloved bride was losing her memory. He would read to her every day. He would read to her every day. Wasn't that Rockford File guy? Wasn't that him? Yeah, I used to like watching the Rockford Files. In sunny California. Yeah. So yeah, I met that little creepy broad. I met her. Oh, and you know what? I don't watch a lot of videos, but I'm led to say this. If you guys can't see what's going on, you people that are, you don't see these little weirdos running around with hammers and blood all over them. I got a load of this shit yesterday. Excuse my language. This is some. Oh man, where is your parents, young lady? Huh? I'm pretty sure I know. You see, they gussy some of these people up, and they got them in here, and you think these people, and they're out there when the sun sets. They're out there doing that same shit with those hammers. Some weirdos, man. A lot of weirdos. Those freaks come out at night. Well, they do. They come out. I go to sleep. I sleep like a baby. I wake up easy, but I sleep like a baby. Oh, you should have seen me like a one-legged cricket coming out of this room. My son said just today, he said, "Yeah, man, you should have seen Dad because Cecilia was in the hospital. Thank the good Lord, because it came down. It oh man, like I told you, man, it almost came through the. It literally punched a little hole in the T111. Would have wiped out the door, the window in the door, the big window where the big the Satan's serenading uh uh that huge TV. It's as big as this screen. And I can't believe some of the stuff they're doing. They're literally doing, they're serenading Satan through here. I couldn't believe it. I was like, dude, they're doing a ritual right here, man. Is this, oh, that's just, she's watching that. I'm like, are you serious? Almost would have took the window out, took that out, which might have been a good thing, but none of it. Didn't bust the window, knocked the rearview mirror off her car, hit it so hard, and this was a huge branch. I got it sitting right out here. I got it all in a pile that I got was out there. The ones that you've seen inside my yard on my Facebook, I pulled those that were stuck on the fence over. Most of the yard had nothing in it. It's like it blew completely past the yard, kind of like my friend, Your Royal Highness. We used to call her the Donna up there in on Round Mountain with Jerry and the rock house and all that. Which I forgot to tell you. I'm going to tell you a story about Meek's lumber. I've actually seen lumber literally grow. I couldn't believe it. Oh yeah, there's a God, and He loves each and every one of us. So I'm for those of you that already or have followed me, followed the more in depth story, not the little just brush over. I'm about ready to go to back to Washington because I couldn't, like I said, once I pissed Joe off and hurt him, I really did. I really did. I hope I didn't. God, he even confided in me basically and said, "Listen, I'm having a rough time at home." And but he didn't know I was having a rough time in reality, and I needed to get back and hand myself over. I just didn't have the impression yet to do it. And so I was about to get it, but I wasn't able to get a job anywhere there. I had to actually end up working through labor ready because I was trying to save up the money to get back to Washington because I just had this impression from Oprah watching the Million Little Pieces that I was going to write a book. I want you to turn yourself in. And Tawana comes in that night. I told her, she says, "Well, see you later. We're not going anywhere." Kids too, basically. Hasta luego, sayonara, arrivederci, bye bye. And I couldn't blame them. I really couldn't. I mean, hello, I just got done uprooting them, and I wasn't done doing it yet. That's what you think of geographical change. I was running from the damn law, and they knew where I was at. That's the sad part about it. They'd keep me in when I'm there locally to keep you in the damn, you know. It was just it's so ass backwards. But and I said, "No problem. I understand." And I was financing that car that God, I forgot what it was. It was one of the nicest vans I've ever owned. It was really really nice van. So I kind of feel bad that I ended up leaving and it wasn't paid off and went back to Washington. They were having a really rough time recovering that thing. Although I was having a rough time tabbing the damn thing also, but if you know people at DMV, um so we're about ready to head back. They end up saying they end up saying, "All right, Dad, we're gonna go with you." Twan's like, "All right," because now she's manager. She's like, "Look, I'm manager now. Things are going well, and stuff." And the things were going seem to be going well. I mean, not really, but I mean on the surface. And I never really liked surface cleaning because there's that outside of the bullshit again, and then you're eating cat poop. Before you know it, you think it's a chocolate chip and ugh, nope. Um So they decide, all right, we're gonna go. So we start heading back. Of course, a lot more has taken place since this second Maine encounter, Portland, Maine encounter, but both of them were pretty cool. Like I said, other than the snow and the cold, man, it was a real neat little place. When I looked up where's the safest place to raise wanna become famous by followers prime and on I am famous. I'm already famous. You're just becoming aware of just how famous. And if you want, there's plenty of not just money, a love. It's love, light, and life, longevity, prosperity. You know, just I'm just waiting to hook up right now. That's what they're trying to keep from happening is the hookup. They don't want the hookup. And those brown eyes looks just like you, but I was like, those aren't your eyes, sweetheart. Those aren't your eyes, but it looks just like you. But just like this eye there, that one, that one kind of, it always kind of creeped me out just a little bit. But I try not to read into stuff too much because that's what got me to want to slap the crap out of the people at the at the Holiday Inn. That you know, I still would have went back. I still would have probably ended up hurting Joe's feelings because I needed to go back. I needed to turn myself in. And I didn't get near as much. Oh man, Nether Miracle, you guys are gonna love this one. Oh man, it just gets better and better. But you guys already know. Want to become famous? Oh, you're so cute. I do love you. I really do. I really do. I'm already famous. Do you know how many people they used to call me Q? They used to call me Q. I'm like, listen, Q-Tip, clean your ears. And then I went and seen my buddy Q-Tip from Kent. Huh. Well, he's got a story for you people. I'm just not telling it to you because it's not my deal. I told him I was going to be doing this, and he laughs. He said, all right, Steen. And I said, I'm going to mention you. Is it okay? And he said, it's okay. And he's like, well, first you got to get out. And I'm like, I know, I'm getting out. You don't worry, I'm getting out. Well, it's not on the kiosk. I says, I know. I says, but I'm getting out. I says, I read the stars. I read the stars. They used to watch me with the drone when I was in Walla Walla. They would watch me. And I'm not talking about a little drone. We're talking about a military drone. Oh, I got so much to share. So much. They're so afraid of Ivan. They're so afraid of truth. They're so afraid of us. They don't want us to be together. They don't want us hugging. Because you see, if they know that we can stimulate each other this way, like this, they're flipping out. They do not want us embracing. They don't want us to get even within 6 feet of proximity of each other. Because you want to talk about a dynamo. Woo-wee, Tesla. He'd be wiping old Einstein off his shoe. Who's the smartest man, Einstein? Well, I don't know. Go ask Tesla. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, yeah. You see how the Lord, it's always been there. It's just there are people people die for lack of knowledge. Once you start to become the truth you were created to be, but through knowledge and then walking it out in faith, he goes, so you want to be part of this equation, huh? The real equation. The one old Einstein couldn't even figure. The one he's still choking on. He's still choking on that one. They just wind his ass up, kick him out in there, and he's looking up at a big old. Yeah, funny. And then they compartmentalize a lot of us with real gifts and talents. You see, they're psychotic, they're demonic, but they're not stupid. So they'll use us, well, not us, but y'all, to ruin y'all's self. You're paying for y'all's own lobotomy. Remember I told you about the CIA, which is just one of the Luciferian would go into the. Oh God, did I say that? Jeez, I gotta stop saying that. I Casey's trying to teach me how to talk. They go in, okay, I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna get too far ahead of myself. Oh yeah, they'll pay for their own, and then they'll go bust them so that they can get that dollar. Bring in they don't want no other dealers in there. Oh, don't think for a minute that's not what's going on. Like I told you, they come right to my aunt's place. Oh, if it wasn't for us, they would have busted them a long time ago. They set them up, that construction crews, to shut her water down because she had a flush system so big that it would take pounds. It wasn't no. We're talking about, you want to talk about a golden crapper, old Johnny boy. They knew. So they set up a fake deal so they could shut that damn water main off. And I knew I said, those are all shit eaters. All of them. All of them. Flaggers, they're all shit eaters. They didn't even know what they were doing. They didn't even know how to run this shit and equipment. They set up a fake pawn shop and everything. And I said, what they're doing is they got, just like they do, they got a big board around your house in the county and all this, and they got little red little tacks, and they see all the activity going on. So they opened a store. So all that stuff, and they slowly start gaining friends with people that are selling you stuff, and they're paying more money. So they're shooting dope in front of these people. Oh, these guys got to be cool. So now they're gaining their trust. Next thing you know, now they're wanting to shut you down. I'm telling you, man, got to the point where they came knocking at the door. I am not kidding you. Q-Tip, they begged him, please, the Kent police, please stop, please. He said, okay. Now he's doing a little time, and he's got his 2 daughters waiting for him. See, he's becoming a really good man. So gifts and talents, we all have different gifts and talents. And if you're not using yours, you're going to get it taken, and it's going to get given to us. That's what's going to happen. And all of it's being written down. So it's not going to be like, well, I got robbed. Excuse me. Well, I got robbed. Mm-mm. Love doesn't rob anybody. It's kind. It's patient. It doesn't boast. It's very long suffering. So don't toy with forgiveness. He said, go and sin no more. I'm telling you, if you're going to burn, marry. Otherwise, go ahead and get creative. Because you go ahead, and once those 2 bodies, those temples that were created for the Holy Spirit, but it's over. It's a done deal. You have not only, once those 2 can join together, it's a done deal. That's why he tries to illustrate this through the fact that he's the groom, we're the bride. He's adorning us to himself. It's a marriage. There's a banquet feast. It's a marriage feast. He's seen it was good. None of that's going to change, people. That's an illustration for us to adhere to here. That's why when a man loves a woman and he gets really jealous, when he really loves her, you get what I'm saying? So there's a reason. But there's a healthy jealous and there's an unhealthy jealous. And unfortunately, society is taught that, it's okay to throw bricks through people's windows. Hey, look, there's a lot of men, just like Mr. L said. Was it Mr. L? Anyway, it's just the enemy is using, even men now have become, they're just menstruous. That just came. They're in menstruous. They're menstruous. They're not even men. They're I don't know, meeple. I don't know what you want to call them, man, but I don't know. A real man, I can't tell you what a real man. I can just only show you. You're going to have to figure that out for yourselves. But the women, they'll recognize it when they get around it, and once they've had a taste of it, they're like, "Wow, this is sweet, man, and it does taste good, and it lasts long, and it doesn't leave me feeling guilty or ashamed. I'm not all, you know, it's just it's a shame." But we learn as we learn, live and learn, or not. That's the thing. So heading back to oh yeah, before I head back, I got to earn money. Can't get a job anywhere food service wise because old Joe, he made good with his promise. And thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. But you'll know the full meal deal soon enough. If you haven't already or checking it out, you're like, man, like I said, they're gonna know this. I know that guy. I know that story. Plus, I'm gonna make my rounds too. That's what I do. Like I said, I'm gonna have my little rounds that I seen in this vision. I seen this vision in '06. I seen this vision. I seen a lot of visions, but in '06, visions and dreams, prophecies, a lot of healing, a lot of healing, a lot of healing, a lot of raising people. You see how these dead, there's a lot of dead people. You see them? When you see them and they look like they're pale green. No, these motherfuckers, they're dead. These are dead people. These people are dead people. They have brought these people back to life. I don't know how. Don't even care, but it's demonic and they're dead. It's not a good like Peter rose. Uh, what's the from the dead? That it wasn't like that. It wasn't like the faith like potatoes. This is some you see them and they stand there and they'll look at you. And I'm almost thinking that might have been the LA run too. But either way, that was designed to throw a wrench in that pocket watch, as it were. Oh, Jiminy Crockett, time's in my pocket. So I ended up getting a job that this company liked me so much, and this has happened more than once, that they said, "Hey, man, what you need to do is you need to quit that labor, ready, and come work for us full time." And I told them I would, and as a matter of fact, I didn't even mention this because I didn't want what happened to me with Joe at the Holiday Inn to happen to me because I needed that money to get across the back to Washington to turn myself in. Um, so we were doing this huge water bottling plant. This plant hadn't quite been. Oh yeah, no, that's right. It was an expansion on the plant. It was huge. It made some of the Boeing hangars down in over here look small. It was huge. It was big. It was a monstrosity. And my job was, and nobody really ever lasted. I always took someone new with me to work, and I was always a repeat back to the same job. And the people there thought it was real funny. One guy came back once, but it was a hard job. And basically, all day long, all we did was run a big razor blade on a rod, kind of like the same ones that we used to run those that veneer out of the hot oil press in wood tape in Kirkland. Exact same kind of thing, like a big oar, and you would slide it across the floor and get the insulation um, uh, buffer spacer type. It probably kept if there was ever a tremor or something the foundation from cracking because these were, like I said, it was huge. It's just acres upon it. I can't even give you a guesstimation. It was amazing on how big this was. And the company would pour the not only the concrete, but they would come in and they would fill those 15 by 15-foot slabs. They would insulate them with this caulking kind of, as it were, kind of but way like probably 100% silicone, because I've tried to cut that shit before and they were laughing at me. Oh, that, or I was going to break it. They started laughing and laughing. I was wondering what are they laughing about. I'm going to show them. And yeah, oh, it broke, but it did not feel good. So if I ever had to cut that, I'd turn that blade over and just whoosh, run that down the blade, and then turn the blade over and just whoosh, run it when you got to an intersection, you would have to stop. And that's why people wouldn't stick around. And not to brag, but I got really good. I could run. I could slide that knife on an angle and run down 15 feet, if that's what they were, 15 or 20 feet slabs. And by the time I got to that intersection, I could have the intersection cut down with that blade, cut that, and then turn in and do another. So that's why they wanted me back, because I was just a savage when it come to, and I did this all day long, just running this shit all day long. And they were on a little, kind of like a little, almost like a pallet jack. What we used to run it when I was doing lump and freight at Consolidated Freight Associated Grocers. Remember when we used to key up with? That's how I know about the hams. My whole family is into this. We would do a lot of stuff with those deals and just drop a dead key on the cops, and they did not like that. Like, they don't like coming out here because their phones don't work. But so, which we wouldn't have to worry about it if they were playing by the rules. Shit, most of us would be their best bodyguard they ever had, right? And still would. They just don't know it, just like old Miss Wilhelm. But she knows. She knows. She's my neighbor. She's my damn neighbor. My other neighbor, he stole her calf feeder, and she sent him to prison. He just got out. You think I'm kidding? He's one of the friends with Alonzo, the pig farmer, the one that the two-tour Vietnam combat duty guy. He used to go visit him when he was in the Bighorn Sheep program there, doing the sheep program in Walla Walla. Check that out. Little FYI. So before I got completely off track, um, so they were like, "Hey, why don't you we'll hire you, we'll pay you good money," And I said, "Yeah, I've heard this before. I got it," and I knew I was just getting, I just needed to get, because sometimes they wouldn't send you out, and this was a repeat job, and they wanted me to come back. And sometimes once the word got around, you don't want to go there to that bottling company. I was usually the only one going to work. I would just go in, get the slip, and then I would leave. And nobody was, no, but they were all sitting there, and most of them would just sit there and not go to work. They didn't want to work, is what it was. But and if a human doesn't want to work, they don't want to eat, within reason. Sing a tune, need dough. I used to have big dough troughs, beautiful, huge colonial dough troughs. Oh man, I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna make one for my wife. I'm gonna make a dough trough, and we're gonna feed a lot of people. They're neat. They got a little handle on the side. Rock. Oh, they're neat. You can look one of them up. I got one of them in Alameda. Traded after I sold Bonnie and Clyde. I don't want to go too far ahead of myself, but dough trough. So they would use this like pallet jack type thing that would dispense this silicone, and I'm absolutely certain now it was 100% silicone, not like some of the crap you get here matter of fact, I just got done doing my daughter's tub. I did ours when I got out. Gosh, man, whew. You got to stay up on stuff. Sometimes you just don't want to clean. I'll just take an X-Acto, clean it, get the putty knife, and just dry it out real good. Let the fan, and then just start right from scratch. And when I said bleach was my friend, I wasn't kidding. I was not kidding. And I'm not talking about like Hillary, old hillbilly and crew. So they were trying to hire me, and I was trying to keep a job and not let them know, God, I can't. And I just never was into lying. I just wasn't the good liar. That's why my mom, she'd always say, Donnie. And, except of course the time my brother told on us for breaking into the house, and I heard it all going on through the vent, and said, oh shit. And had started hiding the weed up in the Yahtzee shaker and everything else. He ended up getting sent up for that, and I got out of jail. Not with a place to live, of course, because that didn't go over too well, because they lied to him, and I was like, quit, stop, they're lying to you. They told me the same damn thing. He told us the whole story. Just tell us the truth, and we'll be a lot easier on you. Nope. And then, of course, that signature was all it took. And you hear the whole thing going down, and you're like, no. But it was probably for the best. I did get that weed out of that Yahtzee shaker. I sure did. Shit, I just paid $60 for that quarter. It was that Tide stick, that opiated elephantine, and it was opiated. Now I'm gonna sound like I'm glorifying it, but I always said, man, and I'm quitting. Don't worry. But I always tell people, man, if you could ever get that 86, remember it was from 84 to 86, it come through and it's gone. Man, forgive me, Father. But that one was, yep. I laughed at him. He's sitting there putting every little. I said, man, come on, man. This was before Lester ended up getting getting sent up. I said, come on, man. What are you doing, man? I thought it was just Mexican, the dirt weed that, just roll that stuff up. Let's get to puffing. He's looked at me, he goes, uh-huh. He started laughing. He goes, yeah, we're going to see about this. Oh my gosh. I could not. He started laughing and laughing. He started laughing. I couldn't. Smallest little, it just kept expanding and expanding. And I said, what the heck is this stuff? He goes, this opiated elephant. I said, are you serious? I looked at him like my buddy, my toy guy, looked at me when he says, Oxy 80s, those are old school 80s too, man. Dude, you just got them thrown in your drawer. I said, yeah, well, why? He goes, Dad, that shit's better than sex. I said, oh man, you really ruined my whole perception of you, brother. I really liked you. Shit, he paid top dollar for all the toys I'd pick here and there. Northern California's a good place to pick native stuff too. The Win2 tribe, they kind of sad, but they'd be selling there. If you knew what you were looking for, those yard sales. So I finally got enough money together. We take off and we stop off in Butte, Montana. And lo and behold, if we're at a motel and I go to the tavern and I meet some people that know my cousin. Now, remember Hank? Hank, my cousin, Joanne's Nita from my Aunt Nita, Fred's sister. Their other sister, Arlene, the one we used to go to all the to-dos with. Well, their other sister, Joanne, had Hank and Timmy and Arlene's daughter's the one, I think Lynn, that still, a matter of fact, I think I seen her on Facebook. She's the one that bought the house in Des Moines, the 14th Avenue house by Big Sue and all that. Where the hell? Oh yeah, he ended up getting Joanne's son Hank, the one I took the little car I painted green or red with the Jesse Burleson gas and the whole car over to Butte, and then got caught because the cop was behind me flashing his lights. It was my turn to drive. Hank, he was sleeping. I think he probably would have got over. He knew he was a little older than I was, quite a little bit older. And well, anyway, we stopped off, and I met some people that knew Hank. Well, he ended up years later going back to Butte, and his girlfriend and guy she was cheating on him with stabbed him and killed him in his bathtub, and killed him and tried to get rid of his body. One of many. I could sit and tell you, and I don't get freaked out, baby, because that's just the way I could sit and I don't tell you half the stuff because I don't want to flip you out like old axle grease. Oh shit! What a gosh! He's getting it all. He's getting it all. And so I met people and they took me to an after hours party and stuff, and I knew it was the Lord speaking through these people, and I was like, it was nuts. It was nuts at the time. I was completely, my mind was blown away. I would have never before this. Something just drew me to go with these people. You wouldn't go with people that know people that just, who knows, maybe they were friends of her, and they were all into some shit, and they were trying to kill my cousin for some occult deal, and it didn't come out in the because there wasn't a lot said about that. It was just her and him. They'd stabbed him when he was taking a bath and killed his ass. And him and I were pretty close. He used to beat up Brian and Norman Tello, the Hawaiian kids that we'd play Smear the Queer with, the ones that broke into the house, the ones that Lester had to beat up. Well, they would thump us, and Hank would have to come down and kick their ass now and again. Excuse my language. So, him and I were pretty close, and yeah, I don't know why they would have done that, but then that happens a lot. And like I said, if I was to tell you, you'd be like, God, just the same thing that was said. I'm going to bring you back down full circle just to show you how much I love you and how much the Lord is, how much we're all in tune. Do you remember when you said, God, you got some, when I says something about yeah, I got a friend that I actually watched my friend be uh have his brain stop, and you go, wow, you got some rough friends. And I said, yeah, but bad company corrupts good character. I wasn't trying to gross anybody out, and I guess what I was doing, and looking back now, I can understand, was freaking some people out that just wasn't, I guess, just in tune with what was really going on, which is understandable. We're human. That's why it's so important to seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. But that right there would have, freaked someone out, I guess. So I have to just kind of governor the certain things that I say, just because I don't want to freak anybody out. But yeah, so they ended up getting him, and I met these people, these young, and they were young, and they were like, "Hey, you want to go with us?" And I was like, "Sure." Tawana and the kids, they're sleeping. Of course, I'm a f up, I'm gonna drink and party. Matter of fact, I ended up doing, I think, a line of crank or something, or I might have even have smoked a bowl or something with them. But because the reason I say that is because I had a hard time getting to sleep, and I vaguely remember doing that. And we were supposed to leave the next day, and I wasn't quite myself in and out of the. But I remember them, and I remember going to their house, and I remember some of the people, they couldn't believe that I was. And I said, "What do you mean?" I says, "This is so so," and they'd say, "Well, we don't remember you." And I said, "Well, you of course you don't remember me, because I didn't live here. I came here one time with my dad Fred, and a matter of fact, I got my BB gun taken from me because I shot a girl in her butt with my little Red Ryder, my little Daisy one cock BB gun. This girl, two girls walking down the street, and I don't know why, but one of the two said, "Shoot that girl in her butt," and I did, and I got that BB gun taken, and I got. That's right. I just remember this. See, this is how awesome the Lord is, and it may be insignificant to you guys, but I ended up getting put in my Aunt Joanne's room, Fred's sister, for a nap, and I got in her medicine cabinet and was playing with a razor blade and ended up cutting my finger, which I ended up going and getting stitches for. And that's, I think, when I started the phobia with the needles, because Fred had to hold me down, which I just remembered just now. And then again, I think I told you about the time I super glued my fingers together, and I took a razor blade to try to get them apart, and my thumb was just literally hanging, and they had to hold me down long after Fred died, in between the I think Ted was in the picture. Not long after, but enough to where that needle thing became a serious issue, and for good reason too. Um, so yeah, these kids at this party, they were tripping out, and that kind of made me kind of trip out. Some of them, like, oh no, that's almost like a natural thing. Of course, he knows the guy, he's talking about the guy, but I think some of them were. It was a what they call now. I didn't know them to be trap houses back then. They weren't called trap houses. This was in '06. And if they were, I didn't know that that's what they were referred to. But I think that's what this was, looking back now, because of the paranoia that was revolving around the fact that I knew my own cousin, right? And why would you even care? Because you were probably paranoid and been up for days, and who knows, maybe you're dealing out of here and thinking that maybe I'm an undercover cop or something, which is the only thing I could think of. Because there was a couple of the kids that had brought me there. They were like, "Oh no, they were acting like it was no big deal." And I was like, "Yeah, you need to just, I'm not saying this. I'm thinking, look, man, why don't you just listen to what's going on here?" Well, they ended up giving me a ride back because they were getting all bent out of shape. So I ended up getting a ride back to the motel. I didn't sleep very well. That's why I'm pretty sure that I ended up doing a line or taking a hit off a pipe. And was irritated the whole damn ride back, and ended up turning myself in, which I'm going to end up stopping. I'm going to quit the deal right here because things are going to really start. I'm going to have to concentrate. um I'm just going to have to really be uh focused and distraction free. So I'm going to quit stop now. And thank you though for spending time with me this morning, you guys. That was awesome. I have a hard time tearing myself away from spending time with you guys because I know in my heart that you all are on the end of those lines, and I'm like, man, because we're all there together. It's like, man, it's like I've always known you people. It's crazy. And like I've always known you, but yet I'm being privileged with information that I've always known, but not entrusted with. It's kind of odd. But that's just the way it is. I just am. I'm so happy to be alive right now. I really am. When I started that book out, Lighting of the Lamps, and it said that I never thought I'd be seeing morning up until this point. My life was just a chance for happening, an accident, a mistake. I really honestly am so absolutely just every day I find something new. And but how the enemy how he's trying to keep us doesn't even detour the fact that I can see everything that's going on around us, all the progression the enemy has been trying to shovel and obscure, trying to conceal from us. A lot of progress is being made, Tori, Millie. A lot of progress is being made. Don't think for a minute that it's not happening, because it is. It's happening, and it's happening in the most glorious way. Glorious way. That's why he created us for his honor, glory, and praise. That's going to increase. Can you imagine? Many mansions. House has many mansions. Oh, sure, that might come down, and we are the new Israel. We are Israel. Sure, like I said, there might be a geographical, I don't know. Yes, Yeshua, he says he's going to be seen. It says here, a matter of fact, I just got done reading today in Revelation. It talks about that there's an angel is going to give. Well, here, let me, because that's what I was going to do. You see, praise the Lord, because I was going to shut down, and now, as I told you before, that I was supposed to share something with you, and I was going to stop because I didn't want to get too far, and just reminded that I need to share something. So, where is it? It was Revelations. I was just reading Revelations today, which I haven't been into in a little while. 14, Rev 14. First, I'm going to do Luke 11:15, because there's something I noticed in Luke. Oh, Luther. Matthew, Mark, Luke. Let me see, people. Just one moment. So, well, what was the other one? It was 14 or 15. 15. 15. Right here. So something that caught my eye is it says here, some of them said, by the power of Beelzebul, the prince of demons, he drives out demons. So my point is here, of course, that's a whole, you can have so many facets of topic when it comes to just doctrine off just this, but it's simple. I'm just simply trying to point something real simple out here, and I'm praying that you guys pick it up. Here it says the prince of demons, and I was led to write this down. And then here it says prince of the air. We have prince of darkness, like Ozzy claims he is, and we have, as here, prince of Beelzebul, right? Or however it's pronounced. And then here in Revelation, let's see what the revealing is. Okay, that's that one. Pardon me. Just one moment, people. 14. Right here. I think Jax needs in, Don. Revelations 14. Revelations 14. 14. Oh, no. No, is it Rev 15? 14. Oh, yeah. Here in Revelations 14, it talks about the Lamb standing on Mount Zion. It also talks in Revelations 14 down here in 14:9 or 14:10. It talks about holy angels before the Lamb. And then, of course, we have my beloved I love so much, 14:12, Revelations 14:12. Here's what sustains the Holy One. And then here in Revelations 14 talks about that. Then I looked, and there was a white cloud, and sitting on the cloud, one who looked like a son, S-O-N, like a son of man, with a gold crown on his head and a sharp sickle in his hand. Another angel came out of the temple, crying out in a loud voice to the one sitting on the cloud, use your sickle. So it says another angel. So here it's referring to another angel is instructing the one that sits on a cloud that looks like the Son of Man, is instructing that one use your sickle, reap the harvest, for the time to reap has come, because the earth's harvest is fully ripe. And then it goes on to say, so the one who was sitting on the cloud swung his sickle over, of course, oh, I won't even go there. Okay, most of you already picked that up. Swung his sickle over the earth, and the earth was harvested. But then it goes on to say, and another angel came out of the temple. So now there's another angel. So another angel comes out of the temple in heaven, who also had a sharp sickle. So now there's another angel, the one that proceeds, the one that just instructed the one that looked like the Son of Man, instructed him to swing to use your sickle. And this one here also says, then another angel came out of the temple in heaven. So it was a temple in heaven. Another angel came out who also had a sharp sickle. Then another angel came from the altar. So now there's four. So now who was in charge of the fire and cried out in a loud voice? See, here now it's the one that's in charge. It says what this angel was in charge over. It was in charge over fire. It didn't say anything before that. You notice how it would almost appear that even Revelations isn't in chronological order. It doesn't appear like it's written in an order that we would be able to wrap our infinite um uh our finite minds around. I mean, our carnal finite minds around. So here now there's and then I also, let's see, what else did I notice? Well, first let me finish reading that first. Okay, so now there's another angel. So that's four. Okay, with a loud voice, the one who had a sharp sickle, use your sickle. Okay, let's see. Use your sickle. Okay, and then this fourth one, he's being instructed now, the one that is instructing the one that has the sickle to cut the clusters of grapes. So we know those that are ripe with the ripe with their indignation. They know what they're doing, just like old, and I'm going to use little orphan Annie, and you can, you know, two hearts beat as one. You can go ahead and look at that too, and you can see ripe. They just start getting ripe. Some people say, "Well, that's kind of mean. That was a cut on someone's maybe their physical appearance." Not necessarily. It's this all. So on the earth and cut the grapes. Okay, so let's see, sickle. Okay, so let me just read that. Okay, so use your sharp sickle to cut the cluster from the earth's vine for its grapes. And remember, I'm the vine, you are the branches. Whoever doesn't abide in me is cut off and thrown into the fire and burnt up. So let's see. Sickle in the earth and cut the earth's vintage. He threw it into the great winepress of God's fury. The winepress was trodden. Well, that doesn't matter. Well, anyway, so I'm noticing here that here he talks about the lamb, and that's all I'm led to point out. And I'm praying about this, but the lamb twice. You see, he came as a lamb, he's returning as the lion. So here in Revelations 14, it talks about the lamb. It says, "Then I looked, and there was the lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000." Well, we already know who those are. Well, those are the ones that didn't defile themselves. Those are the ones that were martyred. And well, here it says right here, they are the virgins, and those are the ones who had followed the lamb wherever he went. They have been ransomed as the first fruits. So we already know who those are, and he gives us the indication and the answer to the ones that are unnumbered, the way I'm receiving it, by just the fact that these ones here are numbered, and the definition of how and what got these people numbered, what it is that caused these people to be numbered. So that would be some serious sandals to fill right here, this 144,000, don't you think? Whew. Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? So anyway, that's it right here. Here's the lamb up here twice in Revelations 14. Revelations chapter 14, verse 1. We got the lamb. It also talks about a new hymn. Well, we know that that's for the 144,000. And then we have lamb here. Here we have lamb, the holy angels, and before, which is Revelations 14:10, and this cup of his wrath that will be tormented and burning sulfur before the holy angels and before the lamb. So I guess I don't know. That's just something for you to mill around a little bit. He came as a lamb. He's returning as the lion. So there it was. There's a lamb twice. There's angels right there, and the one that sits on the cloud that everybody's talking about that we're all going to see. People are just there. I think what's happening, and I already and I'm pretty comfortable is that with the fact that have faith that you're going to know everything. That's just like Trey said. Trey says, you know why I don't, and he said it, and you could actually completely believe it. I just received what he said. It tasted sweet when he said, you know why I don't seem like because I'm not. He says, because I've seen this before. It happens all the time. Sweetheart. God, I love you. So stop. I know I shouldn't have. I couldn't pass it up. He said he's seen it before. It's because he knows. He knows the truth and it's made him free. You see, he knows. It doesn't matter about a little doctrinal differences. Lord knows our heart. He knows. And if you're in here and you're walking it out and you're walking it out, you're exercising faith, man, how can you go wrong? How can a God that is love fault you for that? If you're seeking ye first the kingdom, how can the kingdom come? Thine will be done right through you. How can you go wrong? Special knowledge holds true. Look, he'll use whom he chooses. These people think they're not fooling anybody. Now, who do? They're not fooling. And so many people are waking up right now. So that's it. I just wanted nothing major to point out. Maybe some of you are going to go, man, I just figured something out with that. I'm going to share something with you, Roy, on that. And I'll be like, right on, man. I receive that. And if I don't receive that, it'll just fall off me. It's no big deal. It doesn't mean that we're not brothers or sisters or husbands or wife or anything like that. It just means that we just have a different perception on what's going on. But we remember, house divided against itself can't stand. If they accused him of being a demon himself. He said, now why? He always answered him in real simplistic way, you know. Of course, when he sat there and braided that, can you imagine how patient he was? He's like, you guys are actually going to do this? And from the way I understand it, they were buying extra mulligans for their sinful life. If I'm understanding it correctly, a bird or whatever it is, to sacrifice on the altar or whatever, however they perceived it, so they could go out and be told, he who is never sinned cast the first stone. And then he writes down all the times, and they just start one at a time, and he goes, now where are your accusers? Go and sin no more. Can you imagine? You too? Dang it, you told me I was the only one. I shouldn't be laughing, but you know what she did with her life, right? That's right. She walked and she talked and she was moving mountains and winning souls for the King Restorator. So that's it. Anyway, I was just led to read a little bit of Revelations. fixing. Sun is probably already down. It's Sabbath, but like I said, I do all kinds of stuff on Sabbath. I'm led to start looking into the holy feasts a little bit more, but Lord says, just I don't want you earning money, son. If you see somebody on the side of the road or there within, help them. If you're led to, you help them. It's not unlawful to help to, you know, that blind leading the blind. You're not even helping the donkey out of a ditch. You're helping someone else out of a ditch. So, yeah. But anyway, that was it about Revelations. And I wanted to go cut that off because I heard the little boy starting to stir, and I didn't want to get started in the once I got back here into Washington because things are really gonna I'm gonna have to try to stay focused. I don't want to go too far trying to I don't want to weave this one in right away because there's a lot of stuff that is gonna help tie things together and I want to stay focused on it. But but yeah, I love you guys. Love spending time with you. And you guys, this is my high. This is what I do. When I'm speaking about our heavenly creator, this is what I get high on. This is why my Dr. Khan says, "Hey man, do you want to?" She had twice before I left. Hey, consider that job offer. And I'm leaving her office with a tear in my eye. She got herself, her and her husband, in a little pickle writing scripts years ago. She's known me for years, her and her husband for years. That's why I started going to her because then I could sell them for weed because I wasn't a pillhead. My brother's like, bro, Shane, he's like, listen, these people, man, you can get a. And after a while, you go in there now, they want to pat you down and make sure you don't have urine on you because they didn't have to take a UA on you. Now they have to, you know, provide treatment so they don't lose their licenses. And they got 3 practices now, so it would behoove them. It's in their best interest. Plus, and they're doing the right thing now. You can't fault people for getting caught up in the root of all evil, which is the love of anything or the lack thereof. Seek ye first the kingdom. That's it's been working for me so far, and I know it's been working for you. Man, I can't believe that actually worked, sweetheart. That was amazing. Whew! My heart was just. I was like he was being pried out of. Had to pry up some big old boulders. I had to fix the gate here, and I was. That's what it felt like. It was pride. I was like, man, this is amazing. This is exhilarating. It's invigorating. It's grease lightning. It was amazing. I was like, holy smokes. He's like, oh, son, it's just wait until you unify. Oh, this is going to be like, woo. I get so excited. Oh, baby. I can just smell you. Oh, I already can smell eternity just wafting off you. Just wafting. Mm. My mouth is watering. Oh, man, baby. Oh, I'm so absent without you. So absent. You'll know when we hold each other. Like I said, you'll know my heart is so true. So true. I would never do anything to hurt you, ever. Never. I wouldn't want to scare you or anything. And I know all that happened. That fat fucker. Excuse my language. I just like to slap the shit right out of him. But that's exactly what's happening. Just so jealous. Oh, what's he still doing there? Oh, he's part of the family. They were just trying to mess with me. Oh, he's hitting your wife's. He's hitting it. Those motherfuckers. They do so many things they did, baby. At the same time, they were sitting there trying to, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're going to dress you up and wind you up and kick you out into. They're paying. They're paying. It wasn't about the sex. Although I did say, oh, you're going to hear her from up there, which really is just across from there. And I wanted that, But that's not what I was. I just wanted, I knew once I was able to just, we could just pray together. And then you'd say, all right, man, because I already seen this. Now get lost. I know what I can, I'm comfortable. Goodbye. Bye bye. And then we would have just maybe watched a little TV. And then when it was time for me to go, you'd have said, no, before you go and do what you got to do, this is what you got to do. That's what would have happened. I seen it. Woo! I seen it and I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, that's why I got you going down there. Your head's spinning off your shoulders. I got to have you, old Dr. Erica Shepherd. Now, see, I don't watch her. How would I know that? Because that beloved sister in Christ through Sheila Zielinski. And Sheila, if you're listening, start doing podcasts again, will you? I heard you got discouraged. Don't do that. They're lying to you. Who cares? Run it. Run it through someone else. Just like Tori, you got one of them voices where people want to hear and they want to, and I don't want to feed into any, stuff that would be, otherwise not good for certain people that are reading into it for the long way. But no, man, you got the Lord speaking through you, and it's captivating and it's wholesome, and you got a you got a you got a story, man, and you got an awesome vocab. I loved it when you had. I think I've seen you a few times. I've watched you a few times. I've shared you quite a few times when you had Uncle Ted on. And boy, when he gets going, boy, I'll tell you what. The Lord wants to use him, whether he's in the spirit or not. He'll just verbally slap someone right up one side and down the other. I'm like, this man, I'm like, get him. I'm like, man, this is my boy. I wish I liked your music more. I love you. I love you. I like you. You might hate my guts. I don't know. But I don't even care. I honestly, I can't. I had all your posters, and of course, I listen to your stuff. I just don't. You're just so talented in so many other ways. You're just. And then Cherie, I believe that's her name. You're just awesome. And then whoever I'm supposed to pray for, that daughter that's birthday's on the 19th. I'm supposed to say that right now. Of course, I'm always praying for June, Pittstown, and the situation in Portland, and Deborah, and all of us. All of us. Your brother, your nephew, the one with the paraplegic, the epileptic. There's something to it. I'm almost starting to think it talks about here, the deaf. The demon comes out of the deaf, the mute. So a mute means that there's a demon in there. So I don't know. Learning as we go. Now I'm going to shut this window because I don't want to serenade the neighbors. I wasn't kidding you, people. Those trees are 80, 120 foot tall. I got 5 of them right here, real close, right here. And blew right past and all this stuff. You've seen the trees that blew over. It all come this way. Just, oh yeah, not good for a little 3-bedroom trailer. Of course, I'm very thankful. Very, very thankful. The owner knows. Me and the owners, we got an understanding. They're like, Roy, if we had more tenants like you, she says, would you like to buy the place? They had it for sale for $1 million, but some guy from California came up and looked at it. There's just too much that, it's a neat little park. We don't have issues like like it used to have years ago. Oh, this place. Jeez. No, it's a beautiful thing. Like I said, we had one home wrecker in here. Sarah, you guys know, you too, sweetheart. She was I considered her one of them friends in transition. That's a nice way to say it. But yeah, the enemy. I started learn a lot. I learn a lot through my beloved women. Women so sharp, so sharp. Oh, us men, just that's why we got to have our women. We got to have our women. You want things to run smooth, man. You got to have our women You want to run it by our wives. You got to be able to, you do have to make the final decision, but you always want to listen and consider it and sometimes you might not want to make a, because boy, sometimes the consequences to that they are generational. Those consequences, ugh, bad mojo. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. Like I told you 45 minutes ago or whatever it was. I love you all so much. I can't wait. Movie night. I gotta see because I'm still working on the financial stuff. I got a friend of mine that works for the state that's helping me out. He's like, no, we're gonna get you a little bit of something. They can't just do that to you. He's like, yeah, man, I'm not liking the idea. They've been shutting us down 3 times now in a row. I'm not like, I said, yeah, pretty thin, doc. And he laughed. He's like, mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, we're gonna help you out. He's got a little pull. Because they just tried shutting me off everything. They just shut me in anything and everything. They don't want old Roy boy eating old Roy. They don't know. They don't even want me having no gravy train. They don't want me having nothing. I used to have a cousin that used to eat those milk bone biscuits. Ugh. Try one, Donnie. They're good. I said, no, hell no. You got to be kidding me. So, all right, people. Well, I love you guys and so much. I'm gonna try to get that. I said all that to say I'm gonna try to get that. If I'm not, um, if I can see it free, that's fine. And I really appreciate that subscription somebody sent me because I didn't even know. My son's like, Dad, somebody sent this to you. I said, Yeah, I thought so, but I wasn't. And as soon as I get things rolling, I can use my own card. I can use my own credit card. I'll just order another month or two on that. But by then, hopefully, I'll let's see. Without saying a whole lot, let's see. Granola, Bridge. I'm not going to say it. Let's just say Bangor. Bangor. Right? And I'm just trying to put, if I have to, whatever. I just need to know. We need to, you and I, Millie, we just need to and then I'll go there. If I have to sit at that damn window and say, hey, until you look down, until one of y'all look down, that's what I'll do. But like I said, I mean, we need to at least speak. Um, but yeah, I'm down for that. And then we'll just rock and roll. We'll just rock and roll. Cause then that's the other part of the equation right there. Then I'll be that yin will be in the yang and the yang will be in the yin and everything will, or not. And then that will still become, then that will still just go, it'll still be what it's supposed to be. So either way, it's going to work out. Um, but that's why we need to speak so that we can get past just a few things we got to iron out. Nothing major, but just a few small little issues that aren't really nothing at all. Nothing that our Heavenly Father that can't. But yeah, life, just things that people that communicate need to communicate. So, that communication breakdown, I don't usually, because, like I said, when I think of Robert in Seattle, a long time ago, before my time, I see not good things on the waterfront, on the pier. It's weird. Along with the Lizard King, Jim Morrison. Weird, weird fool there. That guy's, whew, he's way out there. Um, but they make movies of people like that, and old Mercury. Like, you can't even make that stuff up. Mercury. They used to use red phosphorus when they were cooking dope. My family, blood relatives. Who is my mother? Who is my father? My mother, my brother. Red phosphorus. You can find that on flare heads. You know that. I shouldn't even tell you that, but so anyway, I love you guys. Um, love you guys. I'm gonna let you go for now, but yeah, as long as I get the okay, I'll do whatever. I'll be up there like the jerk. I'll be there at the window. I brought the salmon, sweetie. We just need a little maybe some chervil, a little some fennel. Just a little little we'll go fennel. A little fennel, some garlic. Oh man, you want some good garlic butter? Take listen, take a big clove of garlic, organic garlic if you can. Take the part that goes up where the big stalk grows up. Well, there is a big stalk. Most people don't know, and it grows out of the. A lot of people don't know how peanuts grow either. But anyway, you take the very tip of that and you cut about that much of that garlic off, so the heads of those cloves are just exposed, just a little bit, and then you wrap it loosely in some foil, not too tight, and you roast that in the oven for about, I don't know, 30 minutes or so, like 350, maybe 325, and then let that cool down, and you can take that the end of that bulb where the roots are, and you just squish it and it'll just come out like butter. Man, you spread that stuff on. Man, I'd spread that in between your toes, sweetheart. That stuff is some good stuff there, and good for you too. Good for you. No, won't be eating crow that day, I'll tell you that. Oh boy, I'll be having salmon, and then I'll be cooking you some fish. But um yeah, so there it is, and it's good. Oh man, you put that on toast, or make yourself some little baguettes, or your homemade croutons, because stale stale bread, unless you're making croutons, it's never old. And that just came to mind when I was doing that a few years. That all just comes like that. It's amazing. Just like when I seen old Schroeder selling out the. You got too cocky. Oh, Mister Penis. He got a little too cocky. A little too cocky. Yeah, just like too much is too much is just too much. No, no. When I said 34, 36, Christ size, I wasn't kidding. I don't even. God, I don't even deal with smaller. I don't. And I love them all. Don't get me wrong, and not that way, sweetheart. I'm just trying. I'm just letting you know. When I said that, I said that for a reason. I'm not. And then they sent on the train. I don't want to go too far ahead, but what they sent on the train is like, this is what you send. This is good. This is good. What you guys are thinking. But if you really knew, this is what you would. This is who you wouldn't have sent at all. It'd have been someone completely different. But I see where they were going with that, and because who I was heading down to see, I was heading down to old going down to see old Steve Miller. Go mill it over. TikTok. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm good with it, man. It's all good. It's all good. I could sit here and spend so much time with you. That's all I want to do is room a zoom zoom and a boom boom with you. I just want to love you and kiss you and hold you and just look at you and just watch you talk, pay attention to you, get your advice. Man, we're gonna get a lot done. Either way, we're gonna get a lot done. We're gonna get a lot done either way. Don't worry about that. We're gonna get a lot done. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm gonna go. I have to go. I want to sing you a song, but huh. Let's see. What song could I sing you? Let's see. You might not like this one, but don't read into it. It's by Europe. When lights go down, I see no reason for you to cry. We've been through this before in every time, in every season. God knows I've tried. So please don't ask for more. Can't you see it in my eyes? This may be our last goodbye. Oh, carry, carry. Things that change. Oh no, it goes, oh, oh, things that change. I read your mind with no intentions. I'll be unkind. I wish I could explain. It all takes time. Whole lot of patience. If it's a crime, how come I feel no shame? Can't you see it in my eyes? This may be our last goodbye. Oh, carry, carry. Oh, oh, things that change. All right, that's it. Love you. Have a good day. And don't read into that. It's just the one that came off the top of my head. I love you. Have a good day. Love you guys. Have a good day.